All right, guys. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Let's see. All right. So first things first, we're gonna do some financial housekeeping. It's a couple things that have been floating around this type of market that a lot of people are trying to take advantage of, and I really want to make sure y'all understand what you're really doing when you take these steps. Number one is payment deferments. A lot of credit card companies, a lot of landlords, a lot of anything that's financed from your house to your car. A lot of people are taking the opportunity to defer their payments to save money. Now, what I want you to do is understand that there's nothing wrong with that as long as you really understand the terms of what you're doing. Make sure you talk to the creditor and make sure you understand after this deferment period is over, what happens? Are all those payments due at once? Is the interest accruing? Are those payments added onto the back end of the loan? These are a lot of things questions that people aren't asking, and you're thinking in a couple months they're just going to open the gates back up and let you start making payments as usual. A lot of these businesses will be behind themselves, so they're going to be looking to recoup that capital. They're going to be wanting to stay afloat. So you got to make sure that you really understand each individual creditor's position on what's going to happen at the end of this deferment period. Okay. Number two, if you're getting stimulus money, we're going to talk about catching up your bills or investing. Okay. If you do not have savings and you are uncertain about what's going to happen over the next few months with your job, with your financial situation, with your family situation where you feel like you might have to help some people out, don't take that stimulus and invest it, because investing is something that you have to be ready and willing to lose, or ready and willing to wait a while to get the return that you really want. Okay? So I suggest if you don't have savings that you use that stimulus money to catch up on bills, to get ahead on bills, and then start saving in the future so that you can invest later. This recession is probably going to last till the end of the year at least, so there will be a lot of opportunities. So don't feel like you're missing out right now. Make sure you put yourself in the best financial position possible. Okay? All right. So when it comes to real estate, there's always opportunity in a down economy. There's always opportunities when the market is down. The reason is there's going to be a lot of inventory sitting. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to unfortunately lose their houses. Okay? And the banks do not want to hold all of these houses. The banks want to get off of these properties. Okay. You also have people that have inherited properties that they are not going to want to maintain anymore. Okay. So those are going to be some big opportunities for people that are in a good financial position, that you do have savings and you do have extra money that you can afford to invest in something and increase your cash flow every month without increasing your workload. This is going to be the time for you to really make some moves with that. Again, and the reason why I'm telling you this is because I started in 2008. I started in the middle of the first recession when everybody was scared of real estate. And that's when I started flipping houses. And the deals I got were crazy. I was buying properties from home investors, which is the We Buy Ugly Houses people. And they had so many properties that they had to literally pay me to take them. Like the first flip I bought, they had to pay $7,000 at closing for me to buy the house from them. Okay, so these are the type of opportunities that really do exist. They really exist. You just have to have the right team. You have to have the right mentors around you. You have to have the right people in your circle that are going to help you identify them and figure out how to get started. Okay. Now, the reason why there's always going to be real estate opportunities is people always need somewhere to live, whether they're owning or they're renting. What you're going to see right now is a lot of people that have home ownership that were financially sound, who have lost their jobs now. They have mortgages, and if they get behind on those mortgages and they can no longer make those payments, they still have to live somewhere. So the majority of them, number one, their pride is already hurt because they lost their job. They're in a social circle where they want to keep up the same quality of life. So what are they going to do? They're going to go rent a similar property, right? So now if you're a landlord, this is a win for you when the market is down like this, because there's going to be a lot more revenue opportunities for you to come in, because those people for the next few years, they're going to get another job when the economy recovers. But their credit is going to be messed up for a few years, so they won't be able to qualify for a mortgage loan, okay? So the people that can't qualify for a mortgage loan but now have high incomes will become renters. So if you are in a position where you want to be a landlord, this is a great time for you to get properties, again, from one person who's lost a house and it's been given to the bank, or the bank has taken it back, and the bank wants to get off of that house. They're going to discount that foreclosure and sell it to you at a discount. Then you're going to go and work with a working professional in the industry that understands the investing side. So you're going to find a realtor that works with investors, and this realtor is going to help you find the right market where you can buy that foreclosed home, but the rental rates in that market are a lot more than what your mortgage payment is going to be every month. Okay, so what's going to happen is, number one, you're going to get that cash flow from that. On top of that, as the economy does recover over the next few years, the home value is going to creep back up to what it was before the recession hit. But you have to be in the right market. So we're going to talk about how to figure out which markets to be in to make sure you're getting the right deals. And even if it's not going to be an investment property for a rental, if you're looking for a house to buy right now, don't rush the process, okay? There are going to be a lot of great deals coming up over the next few months. And there's going to be a lot of builders and developers that will be sitting on houses that they've built, but they can't sell. So they're going to start discounting those prices, okay? So once again, there's going to be another opportunity for you to get in and get a steal on a property, basically buying it on sale, okay? So what are you looking for? You're looking for real estate markets where there's big industry and that employs a lot of people, okay? Because once again, if you're in one of those markets, and maybe you're in a market where there's things going on that aren't really the jobs won't be affected as much. So I'm here in Houston, Texas, right? So there's the medical center right now. So with the coronavirus, there's a high demand for healthcare workers to stay employed. There's a shortage of healthcare workers. So if you're in a market where there's somebody supplying the medical devices for the healthcare workers, or you're in the market where the healthcare workers actually work, then there's going to be a big housing demand, and those people will stay employed. Okay, so if you have that market somewhere in your community or in a city near you where you can reach within reason, then that's the market you want to be in, because those people will stay employed. There will still be strong housing demand. People will be renting, and some people may not even be affected by the downturn because they have not lost their jobs. So what's going to happen is the people that are in the industries in those communities that lose their jobs will create opportunities for the other people that are still employed. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All right. Also, if you're in a city that has some redevelopment, some new development activity going on, the places you want to look are where that activity did not stop during the recession. If a developer is deep enough into a project where he's going to finish it and he's still confident that he's going to make money, you need to be somewhere in that mix, buying property somewhere around there, okay? It doesn't have to be right at the center of development, but maybe right on the edge of development, because what that tells you is the big boys still feel comfortable with the game. This is like you being Wendy's or Burger King and you seeing McDonald's setting up shop. If McDonald's has spent the money and the time to figure out what's going on in this market and they're still comfortable with this market, you better believe Wendy's and Burger King are still going to come behind them and set up shop somewhere close, okay? So once again, so the two big things are areas where there's big industry and areas where the development has not slowed down at all, okay? Or if it has slowed down a little bit, where there's still some activity. You want to be as close to the hot market as possible. And again, this is for investment property, or if you're looking for a property that you want to live in yourself, okay? Because whenever you buy in these markets where these catalysts are in the market that are going to create a new point of destination or create a value add for that area, people are going to want to live there. And as the economy recovers nationwide, if you are in a position to have owned something in that area, you will naturally benefit without having to do anything. You make one decision and you benefit from it for years. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Now, once again, the types of deals we're looking for and the people that you will be looking for to get these deals, the undervalued properties. So undervalued property is anything that the seller or the bank is going to be selling for less than what the market rate is. I don't expect you to try to figure this out on your own, okay? What I need you to do is find a real estate agent or an investment mentor in your market that understands what's going on. Okay, you don't have time to figure it out. You don't have time to read books to figure this out. You have to hop now. You have to move now. So you need to leverage the expertise of someone who has specialized in this for years, not somebody new. Okay, so you find that person, put them on your team, and they benefit when you benefit, right? Because either you're paying them as a mentor, or they're going to be your real estate service provider. They're going to be closing the deals for you. So they want to see you successful so that you can continue to make money or make more money. Okay, so you're looking for undervalued property. So something where before the recession hit, the property was worth a certain amount, and now there's a significant drop. I'm talking 20 to 30% or more is what you're really looking for. Okay, because we don't know how long this market is going to be down. But if you're able to find something at those numbers, then you kind of offset your risk because you're not buying it anywhere near market value. So if it goes down a little, then you'll still be okay. Okay. So the best source for these undervalued properties that you're going to have this real estate agent or this investment mentor finding for you are going to come from distressed sellers. That's somebody that has to sell for a reason right now. Okay. That's the people that have lost their jobs. That's the people that need to downsize. That's the people that are scared and want to retreat. The ones that have maybe rental properties that weren't leased and they were tired of paying that mortgage payment now, or someone that just inherited a property and they know they can't keep it up. Those are the type of people that will have these properties that they'll be willing to get rid of, even if they know the market value. Okay, they'll be willing to get rid of them for less than market value, just to have the peace of mind and not have that financial strain on them. Because we all know there's no stress like financial stress, right? So if they can get that load off their shoulders, they will, especially in a market like this. Okay. So if y'all got questions, make sure you write them down. I'll be answering questions at the end. Okay. Now, next question is, how do you buy these properties, right? So we all know right now that banks are not in a position to be freely lending money. The banks are scared themselves. So this is where y'all have to start looking for creative financing strategies. So guys, in the past, I want you to listen to this. In the past 6 months, I've done about $2.4 million in real estate transactions. Okay. I bought a portfolio of rental properties, 18 houses, 2 commercial buildings. I sold my first 3 townhouses in my new construction development, and I just closed on a flip property with a student, and we've got 2 vacant lots that we purchased that we're gonna build new construction on as well. So $2.4 million worth of real estate transactions in the last 6 months, and I did not use a bank at all. No banks involved. So right now, while other people are stressing, worrying about what's gonna happen if their tenants stop paying their rent, or what happens if the projects get stalled, I don't have that stress because I figured out creative ways to fund these projects. Okay, so I'm gonna give you my go-to. My best creative funding strategy is to let the seller become the bank. Okay, so there's 2 ways you can really let the seller become the bank for you. In other words, instead of telling the seller you're gonna get paid off all at once, you negotiate with these sellers to finance the property for you or allow you to make payments to them until it's paid off, and then you take over that ownership. Okay, so the 2 ways that can happen is if they own the property free and clear, then they can owner finance the property to you. When they owner finance the property to you, they're gonna require you to give them something down, maybe 5%, 10% down on whatever the purchase price is. And then you're gonna make payments to them over a course of time to pay them off. Or you can negotiate something where you say, okay, in a few years, when the market recovers, I'll pay you off. So let me pay you for 5 years, and then at the end of 5 years, I'll go back to the bank at that point in time, and I ask the bank to lend me the money to pay you off. Okay, and that way you have paid down the mortgage balance on what you owe them, and you'll be in a better position to get the bank to refinance something that has a lower balance compared to the value of the property, if that makes sense. Okay. The other option is the people that are in a really bad position right now and they've lost their jobs. You want to be able to ask them if they would allow you to take over their payments. Okay. When you take over their payments, you may offer them some move money, offer them a couple $1,000s to get the keys to the property, these are probably going to be the people that are at their wits end, that don't really have any other options, and they're going to be ready to move on. Okay, so you're going to offer them some type of money up front, or your realtor is going to negotiate with them some type of takeover amount, and you're going to take over their payments on a short-term basis. Now, there are some technical strategies that you can use if you have the right legal guidance around you that will allow you to do that long-term. But since I don't know your real estate level here, I'm not going to recommend that you try to do what they call like a wraparound mortgage long-term, or anything of that nature right now. Now, if you have a local mentor, or you have someone in your market that can show you the details of that, then that's great. But this is simply me giving you some guidance here. I don't want to give you bad advice or have you out there shopping blind trying to figure this out on your own. Okay. All right. So those are two ways creatively, and let me go in a little bit more detail. So the block of property that I bought in 2000, I bought it in 2013. I bought it from the son of a real estate tycoon that owned about 27 blocks in 5th Ward of Houston, Texas. Okay, he inherited this entire block of property, had a grocery store and 5 houses on it, but he had no interest in becoming a real estate tycoon. He was fed with a silver spoon. He was 70 years old, and he was ready to just get out of being a landlord and everything. So I negotiated an owner finance deal with him to buy the property. So these are not theories. These are things that I've actually done. That block of property is the same block of property that I'm building the 14 townhome development on right now. Okay. Okay, and same thing with the buy the block project. So I just closed on the project I'm talking about in a minute, where I bought that whole entire portfolio of rental properties without using the bank. The purchase price was $1.25 million. Okay, the property appraised for $1.32 million. Okay, so we walked into it with $70,000 equity. It's fully occupied. It's got tenants bringing $13,000 a month to the place. It's got a commercial restaurant. It's got 18 houses. And I owner finance that as well. So the sellers carried the note. The sellers allowed me to give them 50% up front. Okay. And then this one is really creative. I don't owe them another penny for 2 years. Okay. So give them half up front, then I pay off the rest in 2 years. Meanwhile, the property's bringing in $13,000 a month. Okay. So that's not a normal deal, but I'm just telling you that's how creative you can get when you become more savvy. Like I said, I started in 2008 in this market. So you too can get to this level if you start now and take solid opportunities moving forward. Okay. Now, once you get one of these properties, there's a couple of things that you can do with it. Okay. The first one is, if you're renting right now, most likely if you're renting right now and you come across a property where somebody's going to allow you to take over their payments, and the payment on that property is going to be less than what you're paying in rent, you might want to consider actually moving into that property and letting that rent go, because now you're going to be buying an asset that has equity in it. Because remember, we're not buying anything that's at market rate. You're only going to be buying things that have equity in them, where you're buying them for a lot less than what they're worth. And you're going to be able to write off now taxes, insurance, the interest. You'll be able to write off all these things with the right CPA. Okay. So then you can move into that property, or if you take over that property and you're comfortable where you live and you don't want to have to worry about maintenance, because when you're a renter, somebody else fixes everything for you. I don't knock that at all. A lot of people push home ownership so hard, but that's not for everybody. You can rent where you live. Know you have a fixed living expense every month. Know that if anything goes wrong, somebody else is fixing that for you, right? And then you can still have real estate that you move other people in that's making money for you. So you still get all the benefits of being a real estate owner without having to deal with the headache of being a real estate owner. Okay. So if you're in a market where the rents are stable, which goes back to what I was talking about earlier, if you're in a market where there's high rental demand and that rental demand is a lot more than what the mortgage payment is going to be, that's a good property for you to rent out and make cash flow while the value is also increasing as the economy recovers. Okay, so hopefully all this makes sense. Now, my next thing, I'm talking about a lot of things, right? Some of y'all understand this, some of this is foreign and you're just trying to figure it out. So what I suggest you do is, if you don't have the time to learn all this, if you have a corporate job and you're working, I highly suggest you find somebody that's actively doing this, that shows real signs of success, and you invest with them. That is the most stable way for you to make money in this market. Don't try to figure this out on your own. This is not a gamble that you want to take. In 2008, I did take a few gambles, and I lost a lot of money. And I had the benefit of still having a corporate job where I could rebound from it. Some of my deals, I listened to my mentors. Some of my deals, I felt like I figured it all out on my own, and I wanted to surprise my mentor with a great deal that I closed on. And guess what? It wasn't a good deal, right? So I want you to make sure that you find people that are experts in your industry. In your market, in real estate, that can help you pick the right deals or that you can invest with, okay? Because you can make as much money, if not more, by investing with someone to get a part of the profits than you can trying to figure things out on your own. And what I mean by that is no matter how much money you make on one or two deals, that third deal can wipe out all your profits, right? So, and if that's the case, then you are better off taking 20, 30%, 50% of deals working with a savvy investor over trying to figure it out on your own, period. Okay, now, how do you find these people? You need to go out and network in your community. You need to find the local real estate meetup groups, network on social media, follow me. I post a lot of my friends that are very successful in real estate in different markets. Hit me up if you have questions. I can plug you with somebody in a local market if I can't help you personally. And I'll make sure you get plugged in with the right people that can help you get in a better financial position. And we need proof, not talk. There's a lot of people that can educate you on things. They're like college professors that never actually worked in that field, right? So they can give you all the academics. They can tell you about all the hottest regulations, all the latest bank regulations, all the mortgage regulations, but they haven't actually gone out there and done it themselves. They don't know what it's like to fail. They have never risked their own money. What they're doing is they're baiting you in. They're baiting you in to get your money, to risk your money on these deals, right? So those are the people that you want to stay away from. You want somebody that's tangible. When you meet them, you want to be able to ask them, hey, can I come to meet you? Can you show me the deals you're working on? Can you show me the deals you've closed? Can we walk these properties? That's what you need. You need tangible proof of what they've actually been able to accumulate themselves and what they've actually been able to produce themselves. Those are the ones that you want to invest with. Do not invest with anybody that sells your dream. I don't care how pretty of a presentation it is. I don't care how eloquently they speak. If you cannot see proof, do not put your money with them. I've been a victim of that myself. I've met people that had the same ambitions that I had, that wanted to reach the same goals that I had. Our conversations were the same, but everybody in the group was trying to get to the next level, and we had no expert internally. So there were hurdles that we could just not get past on our own, right? And some people will be trying to figure it out at your expense. They won't risk their own money, or they'll risk a little bit of their own money, and they'll risk a whole lot of your money. And once it's gone, it's gone. There's no way for you to get that back. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of ways that I can help you. I'm trying to keep this short so that we have enough time to get to some Q&A, okay? So, before I do that, I'll show you guys my project. I talked about the project what I did the owner financing on. So this is the block of property. This is a rendering of what it's going to look like when it's complete. What you see on the very back row are the properties that I've built already, okay? So I've built 3 of those. They are all sold. My goal with the project was to buy in a historically black neighborhood and attract young black working professionals back to the neighborhood, to keep the prices the same as they were in the suburbs, but bring people back into the city right by the heart of the gentrification and the revitalization, because we usually miss out on all these opportunities, okay? So this project has been a tremendous success. I started closing on my properties last year. This is my first buyer. This is Tiffany. She's in oil and gas. She works downtown. She got a great deal on her property. Like I said, all 3 of my buyers so far have been young black working professionals. This is a picture from the last closing that we had. The couple on the right, actually a young Bahamian couple that just got their U.S. citizenship. They actually brought their baby boy to the closing. So this is powerful. These are the type of things that you can do if you take advantage of opportunities in markets like this during the recession. Okay? So let me go back. Okay, so number one, if you want to learn at your own pace, I have created an online membership program where it's basically going to be like a living library of everything real estate, from wholesaling to buy and hold if you want to be a landlord, to my development projects, to creative financing. I'm also going to have a vlog on there which is going to be like just days in the life, of me. Some of that content is already up. So you can go on there, learnfromchris.com. It's only $37 a month, right? So you spend that, you blow that on a couple of drinks on happy hour, right? So $37 a month, you're going to have access to everything that I know. I'm calling it everything I know about real estate. It'll be like, it's like a drip campaign. Every month there's going to be more content added. It's going to be ever evolving. And as markets change, as things like this happen with the recession, I'll be updating information on there. So yeah, and it's like a self-paced process where you can learn as you go. Okay. If you don't do that, at minimum, I want you to go follow me on Instagram, because I give away a ton of information, because at some point it's not really about the money anymore. It's about me really seeing our community doing better and seeing more of us getting in a position where we can win in real estate. We are groomed to be great employees, to be great team members, but we aren't really taught how to create wealth on our own without having to trade time for dollars, without having to go get an advanced degree to exchange that for some time sitting at a corporate desk where they're telling everybody that you can be the CEO, but it's 40,000 employees and there's only one CEO and HR department. Everybody's selling you dreams, really, right? So these opportunities usually don't happen for us. So my goal is to make sure that as many of us as possible are in positions to win without having to depend on a job, where you can start thinking and growing rich, like the book says, where you can start thinking about or understanding how the thought processes work to turn an idea into everlasting revenue that's going to compound every year and continue to build wealth for you and your family. Okay. So if you don't want to take that risk, if you don't want to invest, if you just want to passively make money, if you're happy with your career, owning real estate as an investor is not something that you think that you want to do, then I highly suggest, like I said earlier, you invest with other people. So the current crowdfund project that I have is an opportunity for you to buy ownership in those 18 houses that I was talking about earlier, where the seller owner financed it to me, right? So what I'm doing is I'm allowing other people to buy in. For as little as $250, you can buy shares and actually have ownership of this asset. What that means for you is you don't have to take a big risk. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out what you want to invest in yourself. You actually can buy something that a successful a seasoned investor actually already owns, and you can own a part of that. So to tell you a little bit more about this project, I got a quick video here. Sometimes these videos don't play very well, but let me try to run it. So this is the crowdfund site that shows the project. Okay, so we have 455 investors. We raised over $250,000. That's my team. If you notice what my team looks like, you can see that's the new construction in the same neighborhood that I was just telling you about. This is the property. It's 18 houses. There's another view of it. You can see how close it is to downtown. Another view of it there. All occupied by long-term tenants. Most of them are Black African Americans. This is right around the corner. This is the first African American theater. All this is on the same block. So we've bought this. We're making sure the tenants stay in place. We're making sure that they do not get displaced, and we're profiting in the process. Okay. So this is a coffee shop that we're going to bring into the vacant commercial space on that property. Okay, and we're going to give a facelift to those commercial buildings as well, because we're revitalizing. We're not in the business of just being slumlords. We're going to make our neighborhoods look how they used to look. Now, you look at that yellow circle. That's how close the new development is to us. So within 0.75 miles from this project, the biggest new development in Houston is coming online in 2023. So if you buy shares of this, your share value will go up. So there's what we raised, $250,000. I'm sorry, guys, this is a video. It's moving kind of fast. But there's all the different share levels that you can buy in at if you're interested in buying into that. Okay, so that is the summation of my presentation. I'm going to open it up for questions now. If you have a question, feel free to ask it. What's up, big business? Man, yeah, I'm definitely going to save the live. Does anybody have any specific questions? I'm opening it up now. I'm trying to scroll up. I know it's a lot going on here. Let's see. How do you find people that do owner financing? Okay, good question. You're not going to find them everywhere. Like I said, you're going to need to network with different people in your community that may have access to them. Now, the best form of this is what you're going to be doing. You're actually going to be marketing, because now you're a real estate investor. So you're going to be marketing that you are a buyer of real estate and that you are an investor. So the cheapest and best form of marketing, number one, is going to be word of mouth. Usually that is going to be pretty hard to do, but right now, because of what's going on in the recession, there's 6 degrees of separation from everybody, right? So in this market right now, there's somebody in your network that's in a bad financial position that's gonna be on the verge of losing a house. Okay, so you want to put fillers out there, and the best way to do that so that you don't rub people the wrong way is you let them know I'm working with an investor. I know an investor that's buying properties. If you know anybody that needs help, then let me know, and I'll introduce those parties. Okay, what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to get more leads, because some people that know you and know your background, they're going to be like, wait a minute, when did you become a real estate investor? You can't buy houses. So what you want to do is you want to curb that. So you want to make them feel like it's a third party person, but you're going to get those leads, and you're going to have that realtor in your corner. You're going to have that investment mentor in your corner. You're going to have somebody that's going to be able to, as you get so-and-so, Ms. Johnson said that, she's interested in selling her house. This is the address. You can give that to this real estate investor or this mentor that you're working with, and they can help you evaluate a deal to see if it makes sense. Okay. Other things you can do in this market. There are a lot of guys that have been finding these distressed owners for a while right now. These guys are called wholesalers. Their whole focus, their whole business model is going out, pulling lists from public records, because when somebody has a foreclosure, when someone has a divorce, when there's a death in the family, when there's a probate and people inherit property, when there's a tax sale, all that stuff is public record. So what these wholesalers do is they go and they pull all these records and they market heavily to these people. And they use cold callers, they use speed dialers, they send them texts, they send them emails. And what they do is they blast these people until they find somebody that bites, somebody that says, I'm interested in selling. And once they get that under contract, they go look for investors to buy those properties. Well, let me tell you, a lot of the people that were doing that now have had their buyer pool shrink tremendously, because a lot of people that were doing that were using funding sources that are saying, hey, we're not going to be lending any money right now. This recession has started. We don't know how long it's going to last. So a lot of these wholesalers are going to have a lot of inventory that they cannot get off of. So what you want to do is do a couple simple things you can do. Number one, you can go on social media like Facebook and type in real estate investing and put your city name, real estate investment clubs. You can go to meetup.com and type in real estate investor meetup and go out there and network. You're going to meet a lot of wholesalers that are going to be desperate to get off of some properties, because their whole business is based on them being able to sell all these properties that they find. Okay. So once again, once you get in contact with these wholesalers and they start sending you deals, do not listen to the wholesaler and do not buy from the wholesaler directly if you do not know what you're doing. Find somebody that's successful in the industry. I'm telling you guys, I can't emphasize this enough. Pay for the knowledge. You will lose more in money and time and mistakes trying to figure it out on your own than you will just paying somebody that knows what they're doing to give you guidance on how to get it right. Okay, so those are going to be some good sources right now. Talking to banks or and the people that work in mortgage departments could be good leads. Talking to people that own title companies. So the title company is the entity that actually vets the ownership history of a property and vets what liens have been placed against the property and guarantees that that property is actually something that you will have the right to buy from someone who's telling you they have the right to sell it to you. Okay, so a lot of the title companies will have access to wholesalers that have deals. Other resources, just talking to realtors. This is a market right now where some realtors will have listings that they've had for owners that wanted top dollar, and those properties will be sitting on the market for a while. Okay, so network with those realtors and say, hey, if you have any sellers that have been holding the property for a while and they're you can tell they're getting desperate, they're getting antsy, can we figure out a way to make a deal with them, or have your real estate professional on your team, your real estate agent that's working for you, negotiate with these agents to see if there's a deal to be made. And what you want to do is tell that agent to ask that listing agent directly, the agent that works for the seller or the owner of the property. You want to ask them to ask that agent what number will just get this deal done so that that seller will be willing to walk away from the property. If you can get that realtor to talk with the listing agent, and that listing agent has some sense, that listing agent is going to want to work with you to get that deal done, because that listing agent doesn't get paid unless the deal closes. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. I'm from Greens Point. We need to buy it too. You the truth. That's what's up, bro. Yeah, man. I'm sticking close to the reason why I like Fifth Ward so much. If you're in the Houston market or you know anything about Houston, there's a few areas around downtown that still exist that have not been revitalized, and Fifth Ward is in that last quadrant. Okay, so like I talked about this at the very beginning of the live. You want to be somewhere where there's other catalysts, other things that are going on that's going to make that area attractive, especially in a recession, because you don't want to gamble and just guess and bet on yourself. You want to kind of ride the wave of the bigger investors that's in that market. And that's exactly what's going on right now in Fifth Ward. Okay, so these guys have been around for several recessions and they know what's going on. As a matter of fact, the property that this developer bought, he bought it during the .com recession, before the '08 recession. And this is the developer that's now building this big project on that same property. 150 acres. Is right next to where the Astros play. Is right next to the Rockets arena. It's right by downtown. It's on the water. So there's no doubt that he has a long-term vision. He understands that this property is still going to be a go. So when you're around markets where there are lots of activity or some activity that's bigger than you, then that's where you want to get your cup, and you want to go stick it in the middle of that flow from that fire hose, and just get your little cup full of water, your little cup full of profits. Okay, that's the best way to ensure that you are not making a bad decision, especially if you don't know what you're doing on your own. So, I say all that to say I like Greens Point a lot. It's a little bit farther out. I'm focused on Fifth Ward right now because I feel like that's the opportunity in Houston for the next 5 to 8 years minimum. So that's my hot market. Let's see. Will you still have to fix the properties up that you own? That's a good question too. So some of the property that you can find, it will be rentable, right? Once again, I want you to be very conservative. I want you to have someone on your team that's an expert that can help you evaluate that deal, because there's several factors included in that. It's like, number one, the purchase price, how much below the market that price is going to be important, and what it's going to take to get it to a marketable position. When I say marketable, a rentable position or a sellable position. So you're going to need experts on your team that can help you figure that part out. And once again, if you don't know how to do that, go to my page, go to learnfromchris.com. I'm giving you all the insight about how to build the team around you that you need to be able to make sure that you are successful. Let me say this again, guys. This recession is just starting, okay? It's just starting. Don't get so antsy that you make a bad decision, okay? You have time. you should spend your biggest and best investment right now is going to be finding the knowledge, finding the experts. Okay, so I always say that to be successful in anything, you need three things. So I call it the success triangle, right? So you need somebody with the knowledge, you need somebody with the opportunity, and you need somebody with the money. You don't have to be all three. Okay, if you got the money, you got the money saved up, cool. You go find, if you got the money, then you find somebody that's got the knowledge, and then you find, sometimes the person that got the knowledge can also find the opportunity for you, which could be the realtor. Or it could be you have the realtor that has knowledge, or a contractor that has the knowledge, and a realtor can find the opportunity for you, right? Or like I said, you can find the wholesaler. The wholesaler has the knowledge, and then your mentor can help you evaluate. The wholesaler has the opportunity, and your mentor can help you with the knowledge piece, okay? So whichever one of those you have, you make sure that you build all three components of that triangle before you make any moves on your own. That's how you de-risk everything. Let me see, what are the questions? How do you find it? Here's the criteria. Okay. I always say you can't go broke making a profit. That's right. If you were 19-year-old during this time, what would you tell yourself? Again, find people that know what they're doing. Find mentors. Let me drill this into everybody here really quickly. We are conditioned through the education system to do things on our own. We are conditioned that you cannot cheat. You cannot copy off of anybody. And the only way to pass the test is to prove that you know how to do it on your own. When it comes to business, when it comes to real estate, when it comes to investing, that will get you killed. You want to be a copycat. You want to copy the right cat. You want to find somebody that's successful at what you're trying to do, and you want to emulate them to a T. And you want to take all their guidance, because guess what? They've already failed. They've already made the bad decisions that sounded good on paper. They've already talked themselves into things that you're trying to talk yourself into right now. And in 5 minutes, when you tell them what you're thinking about, they can shoot that idea to the ground. They can shoot 15 holes in it before you can even blink. So you need to have somebody on your team. You have somebody in your circle that's giving you that guidance. Like I said, I do what I can. I try to help as many people as I can in my market. I try to connect people with people in other markets when they need it. But my goal for you is to understand that you do not have to figure this out on your own. Find an expert. Pay for the course. Pay for the mentorship. Find that realtor. Find that team. Do what you need to do to make sure you invest in yourself. If you can invest these thousands of dollars, if people can invest these thousands of dollars to go to college, you definitely can invest that money to create wealth for yourself. Byron, what's up, bro? I do have connects in Columbus, Ohio. I do. Shoot me a message after this. Make sure you follow me. Shoot me a message. We aren't taught to step up and find solutions. You're right. You're right. We aren't taught to step up and find solutions, and we are so scared to fail. That goes back to institutional learning again. We are taught, especially a lot of people that actually have the money to invest, because they're in corporate jobs, because they were the high achievers and they got the good jobs when other people applied for the jobs and didn't get them. Those people that got those jobs are usually the A students and the B students. So they're afraid to fail, because education has taught you got to be right at least 90% of the time to be the top tier, right? So when you become that averse to failing, you don't want to take risks. And when you become that averse to failing, you don't want to copy off anybody, because you're thinking that you're going to be looked at differently. In reality, the people that were seeing these students who are used to failing 35% of the time, who ended up getting the same diploma you got, they're more comfortable with, hey, I don't have to get it right 100% of the time. I can fail a little bit. I still learn. I still get to my goal. And those people usually make better entrepreneurs. I myself was one of those A students, but I just realized as soon as I got out of college, I hated corporate America, And I realized a lot of my colleagues that were just as smart as me or smarter than me are still in that bubble, and they're asking me how to get out now. but they're not really built to take the risk to get out because they're so programmed to be fixed in what they have going on, because they're so afraid to fail. They're so afraid to have a setback. All right. Am I mentoring face to face? So I do have small group mentoring. And what I do is I charge you $1,500 to get in the program because I don't want people that aren't serious. You have to have some type of level of commitment, some type of dedication. $1,500 to get in. But once you get in, I'm gonna give you all my resources. I'm gonna give you thousands of dollars worth of even just the legal contracts and my team and access to everybody that I know or my network. And on top of that, I'm gonna help you close deals. And most people charge a lot more to train you how to get in real estate. But where I make my money in that, because it is a business, is we split our first 3 deals 50-50. So what that does for both of us, it creates an ownership and a position where we both want to win, right? Because I don't want to spend months with you after you pay me $1,500 and we don't close any deals. Because that every day I spend with you that we don't close a deal, I'm losing money technically, right? So I want to put you in a position where you can win, where you're not giving up $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 like some of these real estate folks charge. And whether you're successful or not, that money's gone. I want to make sure that anything that you pay me above that, I want to make sure anything you pay me above that initial fee is something out of profits where we've actually closed some deals. Okay, somebody asked forbearance or refi. I'm not the mortgage person. MG, the mortgage guy, look him up. MG, the mortgage guy, he can talk to you about that. But from my perspective, you have to really look at the situation in detail, because forbearance usually means that interest is going to accrue, and they're going to add something onto the end of the loan. So you're going to end up paying more for the property at the end of that long term than you will by refinancing. When you refinance, hopefully you're refinancing to a lower interest rate, so your monthly payments are lower. And I would always suggest, whether you refi or you do the forbearance, to pay a little bit more than the minimum monthly payments, so that goes towards your principal. I don't know how many of you know this, but if you buy a house on a 30-year mortgage, by the time you've paid that mortgage off, you've paid 185% of the purchase price for that property on average. So between 150 to 185% of that purchase price. If you add up all those payments over 30 years, it's going to be way more than what the price was on that contract when you bought that house. Have I ever used a HELOC to purchase properties? Okay, I have used a HELOC before, which is a home equity line of credit. I've used a home equity loan, actually. And what I did with that loan was I used it for the rehab on one of my rental properties, okay? But the property that I did the home equity loan on had a lot of spread between what I owed on it and what the value of the property was. So if this was the spread, I only pulled out enough to bring it to right here. And I took that and put it into a property that was going to create income for me, because I knew the income from the property that I was fixing up was going to be enough to cover what it cost me to use that bank's money on that home equity loan. So whatever you do, you always want to remember this. Make sure that anytime you borrow money, that the repayment amount for that money is less than what you are going to make in return, okay? You have to make sure that those numbers make sense. Do not pull money out of something and then put it into something where you're going to break even, or where you're going to make 5% over, 7% over. You want to make sure there's a significant spread, a significant amount of profit that's going to be made over what the cost of the money is that you're borrowing. So, and that's another term. All right, let me see what other questions we got. I know you're in Houston, of course. What other markets are you personally invested in? I'm invested in Houston. I'm invested in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Those are my only 2 markets right now. Not because I have anything against any other market. I just have so much opportunity within these 2 markets that I don't have to diversify and spread myself thin, making sure I keep track of things that are going on in a bunch of other markets. The best way to get into real estate is to research and find what pathway in real estate you want to get into. I know that sounds like I ran around that question, but what you have to do is you really have to understand everybody has a different risk tolerance, right? Everybody has a different amount of money. So there's no one way for you to get in real estate to be like everybody else. You have to figure out what works for you. I personally didn't like having a bunch of individual rental properties all throughout the city. I had built up a portfolio of about 15 of them at one point, and I sold them all because I didn't like it. I know some people that own 40, 50 rental properties, and they're completely happy with it. I know people that own apartment complexes that are completely happy with it. I know people that only want to own commercial real estate, okay? I know people that love doing flips. I know people that love doing new construction. I know people that both hate the other side. I know people that love wholesaling because all they're doing is finding deals and selling them to other people, and they don't actually have to ever really own any of the real estate. So for me to actually answer that question for you is something that I would have to sit down with you and understand your personality, understand what you want to do, understand what your goals are before you can answer that. Now, like I said, if you go to learnfromchris.com and you sign up for my membership course, I basically walk you through all these different avenues where you can look at all the different ways to get into real estate and you can figure out what best suits you. Is $5,000 enough to purchase a property in a time like this? It definitely is. If you're in the right market, if you can buy properties for under $100,000, $5,000 could definitely get you across the finish line, especially if you can get a seller to bring some money to the closing table because they just want to get from under a property, okay? Or if you're in a market where they're still offering down payment assistance grants. Some markets you can. If you have not bought a property before and you're going to buy it with a 3% down payment type mortgage or 3.5% down payment type mortgage, there are home purchase programs that allow you to take grant money to fill in the gap between what you have and what's needed to actually close the deal. Once again, you got to find somebody local in your market that's an expert. Are you connected with any investors in Lafayette? I'm connected with a few investors in Lafayette. Realestate.entrepreneur is my boy. Brandon Calhoun. Man, what's Brandon's Instagram? I can't think of it right now. Shoot me a message and I'll plug you with the folks in Lafayette. It can still be a good idea to do new construction in this market if there's still a strong demand. You know, like I said, there are industries that haven't been affected so much. There are people that are still employed. So new construction can still be profitable. But if this is something that you're getting into for the first time, I don't recommend doing anything new at this time, unless you have, like I said earlier, a mentor that's going to be helping you every step of the process, evaluating your risks and helping you figure out what the best scenario is for you. I don't know anything about Lincoln, New York, so I can't give you any advice on that. Okay, creative financing. I'm about to help you get off here, but creative financing is finding ways to purchase property that don't require you using a bank, okay? And that could be borrowing money from friends and family, or borrowing money from people in your network that have the capital that is sitting on the sideline, and then finding a deal where the owner of that property is willing to sell it to you on terms versus selling it to you outright. So that means they're gonna want some type of down payment. So either you have the capital or you have some people in your circle that have the capital, the money to bring to closing to pay the down payment, and then that seller's willing to let you make payments over a certain period of time. Or you're going to be taking over the payments that someone else owns on a property. Like I said, do not risk anybody's money if you don't know what you're doing. Find someone that can be a mentor, or find an investor that has money that's saying, I'm willing to walk you through some deals if you bring the opportunity to me. Those are creative ways that you can get into real estate in a market like this and not have to worry about your credit, not have to worry about a bank underwriting your expertise, but you will be able to start and get ahead in a market where most people are fearful. Yeah, $50,000 is more than enough. All right, guys, so I got to hop off because there's somebody else hopping on at 7. Once again, follow me, _INVSTR. I appreciate everybody that hopped on tonight. We will be saving this so you can come back and watch it again. Learnfromchris.com is where you can go if you want to sign up with me and get some long-term virtual mentorship. If you want to get into the actual face-to-face mentorship, the small group mentorship program, you can also reach me. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram, or you can shoot me an email at chris@learnfromchris.com. And I am about to sign off. I apologize that I did not get to all the questions, but definitely follow me, hit me up, and I'll be able to help you out as much as possible.